God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, please turn your cell phones to silent. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Madam Chair, there are not any.
I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Visitor comments, Mr. Moen or Mr. Todd? Nothing? Anybody else? All right, thank you for coming. Consider this consent agenda, the minutes of the previous monthly board meeting, the monthly cash flow, including investments, our monthly bills paid, the monthly bills paid from our activity accounts, the personnel summary sheet, and donations, where we would like to thank the Husky Booster Club for donating to the fishing team, and Big Lake Sportsman Club for also donating to the fishing team. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Any questions, comments, or concerns? And all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Special board reports with possible action. Personnel did not meet. We've hired everybody so far that we need to, I
Yes,
believe.
we are short, at this point, we're just short one special ed long-term sub for the whole year.
Okay,
For somebody who's out on leave for leave, but other than that, we've got everybody else, so.
awesome.
That's what we're short right now. We do maybe have a lead on that person, so we'll see if that pans out, but other than that, we've gotten everybody else hired.
Okay. Curriculum. Becky's not here. I guess the other would be me. So we're gonna turn it over to Ryan for our teaching and learning report.
Yep, and so you each get a copy of the teaching learning report. Couple of highlights so far into the summer. Summer school was a big success. Summer camps were a big success. We ended the year, we have a little bit of ESSER dollars left that will flow into the next year. So they extended that date out. So one of the things that we're looking at is doing a survey to families and seeing if we're to use some of those funds that were remaining, is it transportation that's the most important piece, or all-day programming, to see if there's something that we could offer next year as well. Maybe 2 weeks instead of 3 weeks, but looking at how do we continue to do some of those pieces. We had originally about 152 kids registered. We ended with about 143, but we had over 200 that were participating in camps every single day. So really cool opportunity to have over the summer. So. The admin team went to the Model Schools Conference at the end of June. We saw a number of different things, a number of different sessions. One of them in particular that all of us attended was around technology and that use of technology, and how do we move the game from substitution to really augmenting, changing that instruction in the classroom where technology is improving instruction. Right? And so one of the things that we brainstormed together, I put a proposal together that we'll be looking at, which is the back page, looking at how do we get staff involved with that. We know we have staff out there that do amazing things with technology. How do we spread that to make sure that we get other teachers doing the same thing? Okay. So there's an example of that. We'll be looking at that over this month and then into the fall as well. And then the other update I have is around career pathways. We are continuing into the career cohort that Sourcewell does, which is all of our neighboring districts all moving towards what does that career work look like in school for kids. In particular, we have adopted a new program called School Links. And so we had MCIS, which was a career investigation, inventory, surveys, and things like that. School Links is like that on steroids in terms of that exploration for kids, looking at internships, looking at different opportunities that they could have, both college and non-college opportunities. And then it's that personalized learning plan as well will be housed in that system. And parents will have access to it, kids have access to it as well. So we're looking at a video that we're trying to put together for that. That'll go on our website. That in the future we'll play at the board meeting as well. The additional pieces that are there are just curriculum updates, just things that are going on. And again, that back page is a proposal for how to get more staff involved in technology training.
Can I expand on that a little bit?
Yeah.
Since even before Ryan got here, we've had different ways of trying to improve our technology and teachers how they use it through tech integrationists. And we've tried through Sourcewell, we've tried it with positions here, and it just has never really taken off. Staff, for whatever reason, either haven't used that, or we've had trouble with the person training, the teachers and time-wise. So one of the things when we were brainstorming was kind of the teacher training model, where let's use our own people and stipend them when we know that they're good at something, that we would give them dollars to train other teachers, because maybe they'll learn from each other that way, if they had something, an incentive. And so we kind of came up with a plan with that, and using stipends and having an application process. So for example, if Brian was really good at using something in the classroom, a piece of technology, he would do an application to Ryan and the admin and saying, hey, I would like to share this skill that I do. And then as an admin team, we could say, that's a great way, that's a great thing that we want to teach our teachers. We'd approve it. And then there's a process that we're working on to where so many teachers come, and the teachers also get a stipend for coming and doing it, and then actually doing it in the classroom. So kind of a neat little idea that we thought of, that maybe this is a way that we can try to, instead of just saying, here's the Chromebooks, 1-to-1, and everybody's got them. And then kids just do whatever they want on them. It's a tool. But yet when we brought the 1-to-1 into the school, it was really I would say out of necessity because of COVID, but we tried to do it systematically the right way, but it hasn't really taken off the way we would like it to, and doing the way we want it to. So we're going to try this way, and I think it's a really cost-efficient way to do it through staff development, and it's worked with other things like Catalyst. We do a stipend for our own teachers to be Catalyst trained. So we're going to try this way.
Okay. Cool. Anybody have any other questions for Ryan?
I love that CNA one, that's awesome.
We're
That would be
excited about that,
huge.
looking at expanding that medical industry piece,
That would be
as well as
huge.
business and hospitality. And then the other area that we'll look at over the course of this next year's computer science and programming.
Nice. Very cool. Perfect. Okay. Good job on timing.
That wasn't
Very on trend today.
Well, you kind of,
Mike only.
I made it
took
well,
up
you
your
can't-
extra
you
three-
can't count his
an extra
time.
3
Mine-
minutes.
yeah,
I mean,
you have to
you were
just-
good.
mine was actually-
She's starting to rip on me before I even started.
We're gonna move on to policy, where
Yes.
Sarah is going to thrill us with.
I am going to
numbers.
tell you, we did meet, and the state of Minnesota also met, and,
Nicely put.
because of legislature, we do have to pass a bunch of these, but, as Mr. Malmer was saying, we just have to do one reading. Did everyone get the summary sheet of them?
It doesn't look like yours.
But yeah, okay, you just might not be. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read through each one of the policies that we went in length on. And then when you have lots of questions, let's ask them after a motion is made. Okay,
Perfect.
good idea?
so I would think, if you have a question on one, make a little note
Yeah,
of it or
so
something.
make a note on it.
Okay.
All right.
And we'll ask questions after the motion.
Put question marks by them.
Yes, please. All right. So let's start with, I have my whole list here. 102, the 100s that is reflective of the school district. And this is just an equal education opportunity, and it adds equal athletic opportunity paragraph within it. Just that there needs to be equal opportunity for members of each sex and members of all races and ethnicities to participate in programs. 200s deals with school board, there's no policies to be changed. 300s is admin, no policies to be changed. 400s is employees and personnel. 419 is a tobacco-free environment. It adds loose tobacco and tribal ritual exception to 419. License status, number 424, as annual report of policy is required. We've done most of that in the past already. Staff development, number 425, as paraprofessional paid orientation or professional development. We already do this, so that is good.
Sarah, you skipped 418.
Okay,
Dang it, I really missed one.
I was gonna say that too, but I didn't, I was gonna do it before she moved on to
Just
I'm
five,
so
in the
close.
400.
just so she stayed in her, because she had them so well organized.
418, I do, I've even
I-
got highlights and everything. 418, I apologize, we'll go back to drug-free workplace, drug-free school zone. This reflects the new marijuana legalization starting on August 1st. Just adding in that you cannot use it on school property, just like you cannot use tobacco. And that we will have to implement an education program on the use of marijuana, but not till 26, the years 26, 27, like we already do for a drug-free environment. I miss any 400s besides 418. Okay. Moving on to the 500s. This goes with the students. 504, student appearance. This talks about headwear in the classroom. Headwear is allowed, but I'm going to read the change on it. Headwear, including hats, are allowed provided that it does not cover the student's face to the extent that the student is not identifiable. Headwear must not interfere with the educational process. So you need to be able to see your face. So kids,
We've been allowing that.
it's, there's no change in our policy. It was in our policy before.
After.
Or not in our handbook. Okay? 506, student discipline. It adds revisions to the wording that we talked about in our last meeting about changes to non-exclusionary discipline practices. A teacher can now use reasonable force, but it all has to be documented. I think I have that right. Oh, if I go to 504. Okay. 507, corporal punishment and prone restraint. It adds a prohibitions article, prone restraint, a prohibition. Remind me if I'm correct on this, my notes say that basically we already have a peace officer in the school, but now if a teacher has to remove a student, it has to be documented. That's right.
The police officer has to document it too. We
Thank
have to
It adds
document
a
that a police
documentation
officer uses a restraint.
See? I took notes, I just can't keep.
You're pretty close.
That's pretty good. It works. All right. 509, enrollment of non-resident students. It adds an application provisions. So you need to have a process in place, which Pillager already has in place through our lottery system. 513, student promotion, retention, and program design. This adds the gifted and talented student provisions and early admissions to the kindergarten process. Again,
Do we? We do, but it's.
Not the way this is written.
not the way that this is.
What was the number for that one?
That one is number 513. Okay?
Wait till after the action item.
That's
Yep.
why.
I got rid of that from my brain.
I'm pulling that one out because I know there's gonna be a question on it. Got it. Bullying, okay, we're up to 514. Bullying prohibition policies. This adds malicious and sadistic conduct prohibition. I don't know, I can't speak. Thank you. Updates to the general policy statement and notice. This includes the cyberbullying on phones and off premise. It is on our handbook, so we are already following that. We've just not updated our policy. 516.5. This talks about the overdose medication. Adds school district policy requirements of prescription authorizations so that Narcan can be used should it be needed. Okay. 524. Internet acceptable use and safety policy. This adds cell phone provisions. This is the cell phones in schools, which again, we already have. The update on it is cell phones may be used during instructional day as shared in the student handbooks for each building. So in between classes, not in your classes.
What policy was that?
That one is 524. Put that in my question. Okay. 532, use peace officers and crisis teams. This adds the reasonable force provision, which you need to report if used, even if the teacher is involved. That mirrors, this is the policy about a policy. 534, updates the policy to reflect the new free meals law. They get 2 meals per day. That is the 500s. Moving on to the 600s. 601, the 600s is education programs. School district curriculum and instruction goals. As definitions, updates the WBWF plan, deletes obsolete provisions on reading. Basically what this did is this moved a lot of things to policy number 624, which I'll be reading here in a minute. 602, organization of school calendar and school day. This adds e-learning provisions that you must pay all employees a full day and a work from home day on e-learning days. 603, curriculum development. Updates the district advisory committee provisions, deletes curriculum development. This states that 2/3 needs of the district advisory committee needs to be parents. We are close to that in Pillager. We might need a couple more parents. 604, instructional curriculum. Updates required on academic standards, prohibits curriculum discrimination and discipline. 613, graduation requirements. Updates definitions, adds ethnic studies course revision. This is not required until the 26-27 school year, and it needs to be in as an elect. There needs to be ethnic studies in a course starting 26-27. It will be an elective course. 616, school district system accountability. It deletes graduation standards and adds reports, updates district advisory committee provisions. 617, school district and insurance of standards. It deletes the profile of learning reference. 618, assessment of student achievement. It updates all the definitions within them. 620, credit for learning, removes online learning. See updated policy 624, which is coming, and updates definitions and adds healthcare credit. 621, literacy in the READ Act. This is new. It's a new policy on the READ Act requirements. This is based on structured literacy, and it is telling us that you must use phonics added in and some type of training like letters training. 624, online instruction. This is a brand new policy. It has separated out items from 601 and 620 and put all of our online instruction onto its own policy. Moving into the 700s, non-instructional operations. 708 is transportation of non-public school students. You must have a written plan if you are for non-public pupil transportation. 709, student transportation safety policy, adds active transportation safety requirements, adds a type 3 bus change. These go through 4. 806, regarding buildings and sites, there needs to be a it's regarding the crisis management policy. It adds an active shooter drill requirements. You are not allowed to have any simulations.
Would you like to make a motion to comment?
Are you done?
Yeah, go for the motion.
Would you like to make a motion?
I'd make a motion that you all approve the updated policies based on MSBA guidelines.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions? I'm gonna do this in hundreds order. How about that?
Yes, please. 'Cause
Does
that's right how
anybody
it
have
happened.
any questions on the 100 group? Okay, the 418 group, I had a question, so if nobody
You go
else did,
for it.
I'm gonna go, because
Okay.
I'm trying to,
I'm gonna find it.
because now I don't remember. Oh, it was on the marijuana one?
Mhm.
Is
I
there
feel like
any?
that got pushed back forever, so now it's like, is there sure like the state's actually official with August 1?
Well,
as
my
far
thing
as-
is, are the rules the same if we notice they come to school high as if we think they're drunk?
right, we would handle it the same way as an alcoholic violation.
Even if they didn't take it on school property.
You're not.
I
allowed to
can
do-
read the line for you if you like. An individual may not use or possess cannabis flower, cannabis products, lower potency, hemp edibles, or hemp-derived consumer products in a public school as defined in Minnesota statute, section 128.05, subdivisions 9, 11, and 13, including all facilities, whether owned, rented, or leased, and all vehicles that the school district owns, leases, rents, contracts, or controls.
So it doesn't actually cover the fact that they took a gummy before they left home and it just
But
kicks
they
in when
can't
they
be
get
under
here.
the influence, just like you
Yeah.
can't be under the influence of alcohol. That's what we
There
would.
is additional verbiage.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, one other piece on that, they have asked the city council, Wade, to bring, the school can't act to have a dispensary within a mile of the school, but a city council can. So I've asked the city council to put something in their books, not to have a dispensary on the corner for marijuana at the corner of the school.
That
We
would
can't do that, but
appreciate it.
city councils and city governments can. So they are going to do that to put in their books, so we can't have one open up on the corner of the street.
Beautiful. Any other questions from any other board members in the 400 group? How about the 500 group?
513, gifted and talented,
Okay.
prior to kindergarten.
We have always had a policy where you can get your child in before they turn 5. It's just a lot of hoops and not a lot of people do it. Because I
Before
remember
5, so
that,
is that the goal, is so? Okay.
you can start at 5. In general, you can start kindergarten.
You can, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, basically what the statute is saying, we're gonna have to add some more process into that. Before it was, you would use something like the COGAT, probably would have looked at a couple other things as, are they ready for K? So it's ensuring that districts have that in place.
And the only reason I know they've had it is because Levi started 5 years out of school, and I tried to get him to start kindergarten a year early as
Okay.
a 4-year-old. Well, he missed the deadline by 2 weeks.
Okay.
So that's why I know we always had it, or
Okay.
had it for that long anyway. Any other 500 questions? Nope.
I was just wondering, so like, with 524, do we have, like, is there something on phones or something with the internet that just like doesn't make apps work, or? how
We have a filtering system, yeah.
Okay,
We have that in place. We're gonna get a new one for next year, but it's all in place. And it also, we can control a Chromebook at home, so we can shut Chromebooks off at a certain time, which we do in the elementary,
okay.
middle school. They stop at a certain time. So we do have that.
Any other 500 questions? Okay, 600 questions.
I have a comment on 601, where it talked about e-learning, where you pay all employees if you have an e-learning day. So PenMac and bus drivers are technically not our employees. So we would still, I would say, fall under where we wouldn't pay an EA or a cook or somebody in Aviance. They're not our employee. They are their employees. So that's something that they would have to decide if they're gonna pay or not. So like some districts, they would be considered an employee and you would have to, so some of the districts like in the cities, if you have 8 e-learning days, all those paras are gonna get paid for those 8 days. And I don't know what you're gonna do with those paras when kids are at home. So it really pushes, I think, school districts away from using e-learning, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which
Well-
I'm not a huge fan of anyway.
No,
But-
no, no.
And unfortunately, I think a lot of the,
Well, Brainerd has it that way, don't they?
yeah, because they have their people on staff, but I think that we're gonna find out more and more people are gonna try and file for unemployment over the summer, which means that those contracts are gonna continue to go up when we get things, because people, if you can get paid, why wouldn't you? And if I can get paid in Brainerd,
So we'll see. I
So,
haven't seen the numbers on that yet.
I'm just saying that
Yep.
we're gonna, it's something that's gonna
So
come.
just an
hit us
FYI
on the
on
door.
those e-learnings, I don't see us changing where ours would be paid. Other teachers obviously are already being paid because they're working, but.
Okay. Any other 500 questions? 600, oh, this was 600 questions, sorry. Any other 600 questions?
I got one more. 621, the funding read act. we are really ahead of the game on that one because our curriculum was already going that way anyway. But there is gonna be some funding with that now, which we weren't gonna have that before. So there was one good thing that came out of that was they're gonna pay us for something we were already doing. So
I was gonna comment on that one, because that was, I didn't have a question, but that was the one where they had phonics, and I was gonna say it's about that. Because we knew we needed it before that.
Mm.
Okay, any 700 questions?
I didn't know.
800 questions?
I don't think there was any either.
Yeah, 806.
it'll sound some more.
All right, then
Woo!
any other questions, comments, or concerns on her beautiful list of policies that she did a very good job presenting?
How do you keep it organized?
Very carefully. You
Girl.
see all the paper clips?
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Activities.
We
Oh,
did
any-
meet,
Sorry, anything else from policy?
No, thank you. Nope, nope.
Who talks about classroom numbers?
That was not.
Not activities.
That one, is that policy? It says policy 630, are we talking about?
No,
or
that
is
comes
this
down
just-
later.
Okay.
Are we on activities now?
Yes.
we did meet, June 16th. Randy is not here, so I'll be taking over the activities call outs, basically. We had a fine arts recap and participation numbers, which we had 122 participants. Robotics started with 4, and now we're up to 22 on robotics, so that's what steered a lot of the participants. We talked about the 2023-2024 activity handbook, and we reviewed the fees and the ticket prices, and we will have no changes at this time. We went over the spring sports recap, season recap, everything went good, the numbers were climbing, coaches' evaluations are done. Coaching vacancies for the spring, there is none at this time. Then we talked about the fall coaching needs. As of the meeting, we had 1 JV coach for volleyball and 1 junior high position for football for coaching needs. Any more? Or is that it?
JV volleyball is filled.
Filled?
Right now, we just have C team, junior high volleyball, and that's it, pending board approval for the other positions.
Okay, so those are our fall coaching needs.
Should've been done earlier.
What's that?
He said pending approval. but
Yeah, we did that.
So, there, so this is good.
That was the agenda.
Then we discussed the leadership council update. After year 1 was met with a success, they met every 4 to 6 weeks, and it had the impact on the younger kids, was very measurable. So basically, it was a very good roundabout program that we are gonna continue on to next year. Then we talked about the youth sports, community education participation. All the numbers, the younger kids, everything that's coming up through the ranks right now are, our volume is increasing, but our kids are increasing in numbers for all our activities, so we're good there. Co-op activities with Little Falls update. We have a plan for wrestling to add in K through 4. Then we're also gonna look at the middle school going, was it 3 days here and 2 in Little Falls? So we'll be able to transfer so they can wrestle down there 2 days a week and keep them here 3 days a week.
Are the Little Falls kids then coming here? Those
No.
two? No.
Then we talked about, we looked at track expenses / changes. We talked about hiring out a timing company. If that's the case, then we'd have to raise the fees to cover the additional cost
To the schools.
to the schools. Yep. They're coming in. Then we talked about 2023, 2020 summer programming numbers, which was up again. Gym usage and fees, that'll be built into the teams that utilize the gyms or the weight room. It'll be utilized into those fees. So we don't have just a fee on top of a fee. Then we had a weight room coach hired, and that was about it. That's it for activities.
Awesome. Then it sounds like Mr. Moen would like to stand right up here so everybody can see him on video in person.
We can start with the, this is the live replay. We can start with the video, Ryan, and we'll go with that.
I
think the culture of sport is broken. Success is defined by winning, by having more points on the scoreboard at the end of the day than the other team. That's where the value lies. And whose name is in the paper the next day? And who had the most points? And who had the most rebounds? And who won the game? And who gets to the championship? That's the reason why we do it.
The Minnesota State High School League's Jody Redmond is passionate about developing the human potential of students. She's leading a national movement to reclaim the purpose of sports.
The pressure to win, and sometimes at all costs, is significant. Kids feel it. They feel it from their coaches, they feel it from their parents, they feel it from their friends. They feel the pressure to be able to win.
When we think of how our culture values high school sports today, certain words come to mind, and that of former coach and NFL star Joe Ehrmann.
Destructive,
Expectations,
regressive,
trophies,
ooh,
win at all costs.
lack of value,
Win at all
lack
costs.
of value, yes. Missed opportunities,
Zero fun, sir.
zero fun, misguided,
Unfortunate.
unfortunate, sad.
When we look at education-based athletics and what a trophy means, I think it's about the experience. It's about what did we provide those students that was life-sustaining through trying to get the trophy.
Today's student athletes feel the pressure to compete at a high level, so they drop out of sports. 70% quit by the age of 13, and they miss out on a big educational benefit.
There's a University of Kansas study that draws a correlation between kids who participate and are involved in high school athletic and activity programs. Students that are involved in those activities do much better academically than students who are not. The research shows that the reason for that is school connectedness.
It's been amazing what we've learned.
5 years ago, Mounds View High School began to survey their students, asking what they really get from being involved in the school's athletic and activity programs.
I was shocked to find out that our coaches and advisors are equally as important in the lives of our students as our teachers. It was a game changer for us. Our whole district, where we're going and how we value activities, it's not after school. It's a part of the educational process. It is no longer an extra. We've defined that, and it's something that we value every bit as much as what they do during the school day.
The purpose of high school athletic programs is not to develop college or professional athletes. In fact, most students, 97%, will not play organized sports after they graduate. Instead, these powerful mentors we call coaches have 4 years to make a difference in kids' lives, to teach them life lessons that will help prepare them to be successful in life.
I will be honest, our goal is to win. Our goal in many sports is to win a state championship.
Winning has a place, and there is value in learning how to win. However, that's not our purpose.
Our purpose is to enjoy that experience, enjoy their teammates, enjoy their coaches, and learn from whatever took place on the field or the court or on the ice on that given day.
Our purpose isn't the score at the end of the game. The purpose is the growth and development that comes through trying to achieve that win.
3 objectives I have. I want them to be a better baseball player, a better teammate, and a better person at the end of the year.
We're working with coaches to develop their own purpose statement.
But why do I coach the way that I do? It comes because I had a couple coaches in my life that touched me and changed my life.
Joe Ehrmann has been called the most important coach in America and a leading voice for change in how we coach our kids in sports today.
Why do you coach? Is it about you or is it about your players?
A transactional coach is basically a coach that uses his platform and position for his own self-edification, for his own identity, his own empowerment at the expense of the development of their players. It's kind of, if you meet my needs, my demands as a transactional coach, then I'll give you playing time, I'll give you praise, some kind of plaudits, but it's basically using young people
as a child growing up, I had a lot of transactional coaches when I was younger because I was a very talented kid. Once I got to high school, my head coach, I didn't have a dad, so my head coach was my dad. And he showed me I'm more than just an athlete.
Transformational coaches basically understand the power, platform, position they have in the lives of young people, and they're going to use that to change the arc of every young person's life, to help them develop morally, ethically, socially, and emotionally. Transformational coaches mentor young people, and to mentor, you have to build a relationship with people. Transactional coaches do nothing but monitor young people. They move them from drill to drill, season to season, no relationship, no contact.
When I first started coaching, I only had one goal, and that was to win at all costs. And I don't use that term lightly. I know how it sounds, and I'm not very happy with who I was as a coach then. Now looking back,
to be a better coach, you got to be a better you.
And now our focus is much more on what I'll call trying to build a team family within the chemistry of our individual teams that I coach, and trying to find ways for our athletes to grow as people. Get excited, can't wait, let's go.
Every day, Coach Troy Kors works hard to keep his purpose alive in everything he does, and he's helping his team student athletes to do the same.
Good. Nice. What 3 words would identify you as an athlete? This is completely you as an individual, and what you want to get out of the sport.
Family.
Okay, how come?
Because you basically feel like a family. You can like go to them for anything. They'll help you with anything.
But what I chose was friendship. I learned track practice, hang out with people I know, and just getting to know them. I chose responsibility because I feel like you have to be able to rely on others, and you have to be reliable yourself.
So I'm gonna take 5, you have 6, you have 7. I grabbed 3 words as well, and mine goes like this. I coach to create positive relationships with my athletes so they know I care about them, while striving to be an authentic leader who they can trust as we both work together to discover joy in our sport and through competition. It was a good time on 13.65.
Thank you.
Nicely done, well done, well done.
I'm mostly in track just to have fun. Just because I'm not the best doesn't mean it's a problem.
The big group's kind of like family to me.
For me, it looks like we're enjoying ourselves more. The idea of sharing in something and enjoying each other's company and being a part of a sport we love to play. For me, that's been the biggest change I see.
For a coach to withstand the pressure of the current win-at-all-cost sports culture and to truly be invested in transforming the lives of students, there must be support. Support from school leaders, parents, and the community. For this to happen, we must want more for our kids than just wins, losses, and a good performance.
We want to give them more. We want to give them a significant experience that's going to help them develop into people that are going to live in our community. We want to give them a way of being successful that will sustain them throughout their lifetime, not just until the season's over. So we have to align school communities around this idea that we are purpose-based, we're education-based.
I want school boards to reclaim sports in the name of education. I think school boards need to make sure that we move away from this win at all costs. We need to start building a system where coaches are held accountable for the transformative impact they have in the lives of their students.
It really boils down to, what do we want to give our children? Beyond the trophy, beyond just the win and the loss, beyond the trophy case.
Hopeful.
Filled with potential.
Great character.
Yeah, confusion and mistake-making rocks.
And every child feels loved and belongs.
Connected.
Greater relational capacity.
Wow, you're rocking. What else you got in there?
So in your packets, you should have the head coach's purpose statements. That's kind of, you know, you look at that, and that's one of the reasons why I like that leadership council. You know, we're teaching those life skills to those kids. And, you know, and you can look at what the head coaches have said. I'll just pick out two here. If you look at Grant Stewart, who was our head girls basketball coach, I coach to inspire student athletes to become passionate and perseverant, gritty young adults. The sport of basketball is a vehicle to teach them these skills while developing a winning attitude at all times. The concept of family, our team is a core tenet. We may not always get along, but we will always love, support, and help each other to become better. And then you look at Melissa Cool, our girls golf coach. My purpose for coaching is so that I can help young men and women grow their love for their sport. I hope they show that with good work ethic, commitment, sportsmanship, that they can succeed in their sport and in their future endeavors. So all of our coaches do a very good job of demonstrating that in their sports programs. So any questions for myself? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Facilities, sorry, anything else from activities?
Nope, that should be it.
Facilities. I think that's you.
That's me.
Well, that's right.
All right.
Without
So-
having each person here to.
So we
They're in double
met,
duty, you know.
we met with Wolf, the maintenance guys were there, we just kind of had a nice summary of what the maintenance men do, what the structure's like. We talked about Wolf, we talked about the athletic complex. We kind of talked about timelines and hopefully that everything is done in the back before school starts. We had some major, I guess, mainline irrigation problems. Guess we can't pinpoint who broke main lines more than once and all the things. Why we have some big baseball issues with the field and things like that. It's gonna get fixed and worked out. The press boxes are getting put out there. Grass at some point is coming-ish, maybe-ish, soonish. Dead trees we'll try to address, maybe replanting trees, the fact of getting somebody to get to that point. We do have our budget for 2024 and completing tax. Do you want me to go into that, like the big list of all the money and what's getting done and things like that?
The capital projects, you mean?
Yeah,
No, I don't think, because they've all seen that pretty much.
I think things are getting done. The track resurface and painting, hopefully that gets done before school starts. So hopefully a lot of the main key items get done. My biggest question is when's our window of the final walkthrough and what's our timeline if things are bad or broken and need to be fixed? And hopefully that's a year. So we need to, my goal is to stay on top of any issues or tasks that are not completed, that we keep somebody accountable for the things that they are hired for, that things get done. So that was with Wolf. We talked about the irrigation. We talked about the long-term 10-year plan of having it budgeted out and creating a maintenance plan, and Wolf did that for us, and that our money is accounted for and not just being lost and forgotten, and that things are big ticket items, small items are all gonna be thrown in of how to continue to maintenance the school and keep it up before we run into big issues that cost thousands and thousands of dollars that we didn't account for. So we ran through that plan with them as well. I think that was kind of about it. I don't know, I know that discus thing, where did that land?
The discus, the quotes came in higher than what they anticipated, but we're still doing it. So the whole athletic budget right now is because of some costs for the added cost for irrigation that we had to do. And we're also gonna redo the outfield with new lines because it just makes sense. And then an additional $4,000. But the discus cage came in about $8,000 higher. So right now, we're probably gonna be a little bit over on the athletic budget for everything. But I had $20,000 budgeted in my capital account to do some of those things. So between the two, we're still within that money.
And then it's all done.
And then it's all done and it's done correctly.
Yeah.
And the irrigation, the biggest thing now is for some of the irrigation pieces, the old lines are done in some of those areas, because even Chris, who's been working here for 20 years, didn't have an idea of where things were because it was all different times and different places. So that was part of the issue as to why things were broken, because it wasn't marked very well and nobody knew where it was. So when they put in fences, lines were cut. When they put in different things, so you can't really blame them because nobody knew where things were.
So
but now,
what you're saying is the whole back is mapped now?
yes, it's all mapped and Chris knows where everything's at and where all the boxes are to control the things. Because we can't even find some of the boxes to control the baseball field because they've overgrown. And he doesn't know where those boxes are to turn things off and on. So the other nice thing about that is by putting in new lines, all those boxes are gonna be outside of the field of play, which is nice. That's it.
Chris?
Chris is from Young Bowers, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Young Bauer
Young Bauer,
Landscaping.
'cause I'm like, we don't employ a
No.
Chris here for maintenance.
Chris is Young Bauer Landscaping, who does all the
Okay, that
irrigation.
makes more sense.
Yeah.
And then we had a little mishap with the track, but that's getting fixed with the irrigation and
Yep.
going under it. And all that.
Were we planning on doing the athletic, the track, repaving the track? Were we planning on doing that, or did we decide to do it because of irrigation issues?
That, the piece that we had to do was because when they bored underneath, that popped it up a little bit. So we had to cut it, push it down, repave it, and now we'll have to retire it. Right. So that was caused because of the boring underneath the track.
Well, we did it then.
But yeah, it was
We
within a
didn't
few
try it.
years of needing to be retired anyway, wasn't it?
I don't know. The last time I talked to Anderson Brothers, they feel like the pavement will be fine. So we'll have to see on that. The top might have to be redone.
That's what I mean.
The rubber-
But
the rubber.
at one point, we were talking about having to redo the whole pavement and stuff too. But I don't know, I think we'll be okay. I don't know. We'll have to do some checking on that. But that's in our plans to fix it, that, so.
And the maintenance people are getting summer things ready and things cleaned and getting ready to start the new school year. And then I guess my little blip for the community project, if people want to donate, I know I saw it on Facebook with the Venmo code to contribute donations to that, so.
I have a little bit more on that in my report.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I think that's it.
Approve the long-term facility maintenance plan.
I make a motion to approve the long-term maintenance plan.
One second. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Anything else from facilities?
No, just that we have Todd, Phil, and Greg, and I think they've got plenty of work amongst the few of them, so it will be nice to have extra help in that area, so.
And I did send you guys all in my email, that summary of everything that is yet to be done out there, so you can read through that in your email. It kind of gives you an update of where everything's at and so
Oh,
going.
I have one last blip. I answered the question for numerous people about the dirt to the left when you're right where the fence is, right when you walk into that athletic complex.
The parking lot up there, yeah.
It has to be there for water shedding. You can't have everything pavement, so. Just so the
Impervious, it's gotta
community-
be, you gotta have a certain amount of the school
Dirt.
grounds, gotta be impervious.
Where the,
Perfect.
between the baseball or softball field and the track, is that where they're complaining that it's not?
Where
No,
the
the parking
greenhouse is, and then
Right
it's
behind the
dirt, and then
greenhouse.
it's fence, and then you walk in,
It's class 5 up there,
so
so that
that's
Okay,
why.
I have questioned that before.
So
thank you
that's.
for that.
we
why.
can't,
We
we're
can't
right in
have
the
everything
bubble
be
of too much
concrete or
pavement now. So if we pave that,
What
we
was the percentage on the
I
impervious? It was,
don't remember.
I remember going through it
So
too.
just so you know.
We did, we did.
Perfect. All right, let's move on to budget.
Missy.
All right, let's move right on to the business manager's report then, sounds like
We
planned.
did not meet.
We did not do this decision meeting. So obviously we're done with June, so the spending for this last school year has commenced, and we've already started on spending for this next year. So right now I'm working on just kind of tidying up all of our journal entries and everything, because we have our auditors coming on August 14th. They will be in-house for 3 days that week. So I will be busy getting everything prepared for them. And then I have to also file the long-term facility maintenance plan by July 31st. So it goes with the expenditures, the revenues, and then a statement of assurances to the state of Minnesota. But they're all in compliance.
Is that when we start to get emails about audits?
Yes.
So Sarah, you might get emails about audits if you have questions.
In
Maybe in
August.
August.
Yep, maybe later August. They don't usually do it the first.
Just so you know, if it looks looks weird, you can just ask them what you should do with it.
Don't delete it?
Yeah.
Do not.
And they don't take sarcasm very well,
No.
so don't just respond with your comment.
I don't like spam emails.
Just saying. Not that it's happened. All right, anything else?
No, I don't
Can you
know.
update on the budget for the year? We were right in line.
Yeah, when I looked, yes, when we were done spending for that fiscal year, we were right on the money, so I anticipate that's how the audit is gonna go through.
Beautiful. Thank you. Anything else for budget?
Nope, we're good.
Awesome.
Thanks for asking.
Move on to the 2023-2024 enrollment report, which Mike handed out.
Yep, I handed out a sheet. It gives you kind of where we're at today, per grade. You can see kindergarten, we have 86 enrolled as of today, 100 in first grade, 105 in second, 89 in third, 107 in fourth, 91, 116, 108, all the way down to our smallest class, which is the 12th grade, which is at 79. If you look over to the right, you can see the highlighted areas is where we have 5 sections of kindergarten, first grade and second grade. So our averages there are 17, 20, 21. And our third and fourth grade have 4 sections. They're at 22.25 and 26.7. So all those currently are within our guidelines of our policy. But once again, this is who we have as of July, and we don't know how many of those are. A lot of times people don't ask for the records that they're leaving till the day before school starts. But so it's kind of
What does 3 on waiting list mean?
we have 3 kids that are out of district that are waiting, that if we got down to under 105, we would take them. So we could actually have 110 right now if we wanted to.
Do we have an extra classroom?
We do not.
Okay.
The only thing we could do, the only
I
thing
was
we,
gonna, I was gonna ask
I don't
too.
really love that number as we sit.
Then that's why I asked if we have the
People are
space, because if we don't have the space.
we don't have a classroom. The only thing that we could do is we do have this room next to us right here, the
We
lab.
have
maker
rooms,
space.
because I've seen room layouts of the whole school be moved, and I think we have rooms, it's the fact of wanting to do the rooms.
Well, you have to displace
A lot.
programs.
Yeah.
You have to displace a computer person or a music room and put them on a
Yes.
cart, like we've done before in the past. The only thing that we would have open is this room here is open half a day, because it's only used half the day currently. So we could do something like a half-time classroom teacher, which I've done in the past. And you pull like kids out for reading and math to lower those numbers for those programs, if you got to a situation like that. Or you could move one of the sections from kindergarten to the other one and bump that one up, because you're kind of low on that one. So, but at this point, I would recommend you're within the policies, budget-wise, if you set it, we're not going, if you set, this is my only opinion, and then Ryan and I have discussed this. If you go to 107 and bring another 5th section of 4th grade, you're basically doing that in another year, couple of years. You're going to be doing that all the time. And then again, your policy, you're within your guidelines of the policy. So,
And the reason I asked is
Yep.
because yes, some may leave, but if more kids move into the district.
you could, and we would have to address that.
That would
Right.
then, so
Right.
it
Correct.
makes it easier to address if there
Right.
is a space.
Right.
If there's not a space.
We don't
it
have a
makes it
space,
bigger.
that would make it a little bit of a difficult.
That's
We'd have to
why-
bump somebody right now.
That's why I asked about.
The other piece you could do is, let's say you get some move-ins in that 4th grade, and you're at 109, well, or 110, let's say. Well, now you're talking, do we want to add a section or do something? What you could do then is take those other 3 kids, which will help pay for that additional teacher. Because if you're at 109, and you're adding another section, you could be at 112 and help pay for that. Because then you lower the numbers. So it makes sense to do that again.
Yes.
But I wouldn't do anything right now till we see where August rolls around, and might be a week before school too. You know?
And I also see future problems coming if second grade continues to stay as big as it's gonna be as jumping into.
Correct, and that's why I said if you do something in 4th grade, then you might be you're setting a precedent to, well, in 4th grade, in 3rd grade, you're gonna have 5 sections. And.
We're looking at going from a 4-section, 3rd and 4th grade to constant 5th section.
And
all the
we're not
time
built for that.
before you- Yeah, right.
Right. At this current time, you know, right.
But eventually we're
That's
gonna
right.
need to be if our numbers keep growing.
All right.
So,
Any other questions, comments, or concerns on the enrollment?
and
budget?
I'll update it again in August for you.
Okay, then Mr. Mulberg's report.
I passed out this sheet here. You know, I talk a lot in the past about equity and funding in schools. This came from MREA. It was a report of how the funding breakdown came out through the 24-25 legislative session with the dollars that they gave us. And Pillager, I have a circle there. We're in the light white color, which is we're well below the median of the dollars that we got from other school districts. So if you look at the different colors there, there's white, yellow, which is below median, gold, which is above the median, and red is well above. So you can see the school districts, you have some that are well above and some that are below. We happen to fall in the below. That's really why enrollment is important to us, because we help fund our programs basically because we get dollars per kids.
How do you get red?
Red, the reason they get red is because they have operating levies in place. They get additional dollars from their taxpayers, and or they get more money in the special ed cross subsidy, which you're getting penalized for managing your budget well. If you go, if you have a bunch of special ed costs and you have a big discrepancy there, you're going to get more dollars in this budget because of the cross subsidy. So I just wanted to share this with you. I thought it was interesting, and right away when this came out, Kurt at Pequot called me and said, "Did you see where we were?" I said, "Yeah, I saw it." So unfortunately,
A step up.
So I just thought it was interesting.
Leave it to Pequot to think they're loudly talk.
Yeah, and part of this issue is I wanted to share with you is enrollment is important to us, because we're not getting the dollars in the excess operating levy. We're not getting the dollars from the state like other districts do. You know, Minneapolis gets $24,000 per child to educate. We get about $8,000.
And we don't currently have an operating levy, correct?
We do not have one.
Yeah.
I think there's one. I think there's.
I was gonna say there's like 7 schools in the state that don't.
I think it's 70 that don't have You're talking the LT taking all the levy monies that you can. That's 724.
Yes.
There's 7 schools that don't take all of that.
Yes.
We do take all of the 724.
Oh no, I'm talking about something.
I think there's 70 schools that don't have an operating levy.
Okay.
Yeah. But you've heard the number 7 before, but that's the 724. At one point we didn't take all that. We were one of 7 schools for 9 schools, but we do take all that now. So I wanted to share that with you. Area Community Alliance with a pickleball court and ice rink. Reminder that the school donated the warming house that will be built by Mr. Uzman's class next fall. So far, that community group's raised over $55,000 with a $20,000 donation bigger donation from Burnix. And then we had some larger donations from the Family Center, a couple other Lions Club, some other groups, some other businesses donated $2,500, some individuals. But also big thank you to some businesses, Hengel's, Shingle Decker Concrete, and Nelson Concrete. They're going to do the pouring of the cement slab, hopefully sometime in the next week or so. They wanted to wait till the fair was done. That was a huge savings to the project. Those 3 companies really kind of chipped in their manpower and their knowledge and their product. So it was nice of them to do that. So hopefully by the end of next year, or this fall, we'll have pickleball courts and a nice cement slab that we can pour and use for ice skating, and maybe our phy ed classes, our family center kids, our early childhood kids can use that facility, which would be nice. Pillsbury Community Theater, they're going to be doing the Music Man, which is July 27th to the 29th. You can purchase tickets at the ctccenter.org site or through the school website. This is an example of when we built that auditorium, different things that our community can have. This will be the 2nd year that the Pillsbury Community Theater is on, so it's excited for that. John Gordon and I have been working with CTC and a company called Hello Booking Incorporated for a concert series coming up next year. We're going to have up to 6 bands at different events. Neil Diamond, Tribute Band, a Queen, John Denver Christmas, Journey and Styx are some of the examples of that. And CTC is going to help co-sponsor that. So kind of excited about those events coming, and we're really kind of neat because it's really not, with the help of CTC and the help of the Hello Booking, it's really not at a risk to us. They're kind of guaranteeing their performers get so much and it's not gonna, we can't lose money on it so much, we can gain some money, but we're kind of excited about that. I want to congratulate the Pillager trap team on their successful year this year. They were third in conference in the trap, second in conference in skeet, first in the conference in 5-stand, and first in the conference in sporting clays. Also, Andy Grell was the first athlete in USA Clay Target League in the history to earn all-state team in all 4 of those areas. And then I also want to, they sent 10 individuals to the nationals, 2 squads of 5 in teams. And then I also like to congratulate Alex Seeley for.
Alexis.
Alexis, oh, sorry, I wrote it down wrong, sorry. Alexis Seeley for her shot, for shooting a perfect 100, and she's second place after the shootout.
In the
She got
nation.
second in the
That's
nation.
awesome.
Well, the interesting, and I got to comment on that, because the interesting thing is I think she's only been in it for 2 years. And if I'm not mistaken, when she started trap, you shoot rounds of 25 and she wasn't making double digits. So fast forward 2 years and you're second in the nation is a phenomenal accomplishment. And she should be proud.
And the last thing I have is the Sylvan Township Community Event, which will be going on at the Sylvan Township Hall on Saturday, July 26th from 10 to 2. The school will have a table there with different giveaways that we're going to give and then information on our school. And that's kind of something that we put together for that event. Kind of talks a little bit about some of the things we have, the facilities, the enrollment. Then we'll be giving away some little pens and some little Chromebook white pad things that say Pillager Schools on them. So we're excited to be there to help them with that kickoff.
Okay.
That's all I got.
All right. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns for Mike? Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I make a second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Alexis did a great job. I mean, Andy's done great too, but